Discover the incredible transformation. CEO's heartwarming surprise for tired maid working 3 jobs. The sun barely peeked over the horizon when Sarah laced up her shoes, the worn leather creaking like an old friend. Each morning felt like a battle against fatigue, against doubt, against the weight of being a single mother to her 2 precious kids, Mia and Lucas. Their laughter fueled her, but the bittersweet ache of emptiness lingered since the divorce. In her heart, she held the American dream close, hoping to create a better life, even if it felt like chasing shadows. Before sunrise had a chance to paint the sky, Sarah was working her 3 jobs, each task blurring into the next. She cleaned sprawling mansions, each flick of the cloth revealing a world that shimmered in stark contrast to her own. Pristine homes filled with wealth and laughter, doors opening to lives she could only glimpse through smudged windows. She carried the invisible burden alone, fueled by dreams that came at a steep price: her health, her spirit, her humanity. At the annual summer block party, laughter filled the air, intoxicating and light, but Sarah felt like a ghost amidst the vibrant colors and jubilant jubilation. She poured lemonade for the crowd, her smile lingering just long enough to mask the weight she carried. But the fatigue weighed her down, its shadows darkening her bright eyes. Then James appeared, an unassuming figure among the laughter and barbecue, a CEO with a heart swathed in privilege. His gaze fell upon Sarah, curious and intrigued, as he sensed the vibrant spirit beneath the layers of toil. "Who is that?" he wondered. Sarah's unwavering resilience sparked something within him, illuminating his own obliviousness to the struggles around him. Intrigued, he approached her, his questions brimming with genuine interest. Sarah shared snippets of her life: the relentless hustle, the love for her children, her unyielding determination hanging in the air. Yet the constant question loomed: should he help or respect the fierce independence she wore like armor? Days later, tragedy struck like a thunderclap. The unexpected collapse at work sent shockwaves through their neatly compartmentalized lives. Sarah found herself vulnerable and scared, the untreated health condition knocking her off her feet. James witnessed it all, the pulse of injustice and fear thrumming through him. Watching her struggle felt like witnessing a heart-wrenching injustice. He wanted to rush in, extending a hand, but hesitated, unsure if his wealth could erase her pride or honor her fierce spirit. But he couldn't sit idly by. The moment ignited a fire within him, and he resolved to help Sarah without stripping away her dignity. The spark of transformation began to take shape in his mind. He would showcase her resilience, plan something that illuminated her spirit, something that made her feel seen. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As he prepared his plan to uplift Sarah, questions tumbled in his mind. Could transformation happen without sacrificing dignity? And what would it mean for both of them? But just as he thought he had the answer, Sarah learned of his intentions. Panic surged within her. Could she ever accept help without losing herself? Their lives hung in delicate balance, leaving a question looming in the air. Would Sarah choose pride or an unexpected path to healing? The day was draped in a stillness that felt heavy, as if the world was holding its breath. Sarah stood in front of her bathroom mirror, studying her reflection. The fatigue etched along her brow was unmistakable. Sleepless nights marked by worry had taken their toll. She splashed cold water on her face, hoping to wash away the doubts swirling in her mind. Would accepting help mean she wasn't strong enough? Would it shatter the carefully constructed walls she'd built around herself? Her phone buzzed, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a message from James inviting her to a community event he was hosting to promote local artists. An evening of inspiration, he called it. She hesitated, fingers hovering over the screen, unsure if stepping outside of her comfort zone was a risk or a chance for something new. Mia and Lucas burst into the bathroom, their laughter breaking the tension. "Mom, can we go to the park today?" Lucas's wide eyes sparkled with excitement. Looking at their eager faces, something inside her began to shift. They deserved joy. She wanted to be the mother who could offer them that, not just a survivalist trudging through the motions. She took a deep breath and replied to James, accepting the invitation. That evening would be her first step towards new possibilities, even if it was fraught with uncertainty. But she also knew she had to put on her brave face and armor of determination against the storms of life. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting gold and purple hues across the sky, Sarah dressed carefully, donning the best outfit she could find amid the limited clothes in her closet. She settled for a simple yet elegant dress that made her feel a tad more confident. The streets were alive with music and voices as she made her way to the venue, her heart racing with each step. The art gallery was bustling. Vibrant colors splashed across paintings and sculptures, the energy palpable in the air. She spotted James in a corner, speaking to a small crowd about the importance of community art. His kind eyes caught hers, and for a moment, the noise around her faded. He smiled, a genuine light in his expression that seemed to lift a weight from her shoulders. "Sarah," he called, stepping away from his group. "I'm so glad you made it." His warmth enveloped her like a hug, soothing some of the anxieties coiling in her chest. "Thanks for inviting me. I wasn't sure if," she trailed off, taking a moment to gather her thoughts, "if it was a good idea." "Trust me, you belong here," he replied. His reassurance wrapped around her, making her feel seen. As the evening unfolded, Sarah discovered talents within herself she didn't know existed. Engaging with artists and creators, sharing stories, it was intoxicating. She felt the walls she had built begin to tremble as laughter and camaraderie seeped in. Yet, amidst this newfound joy, the voice of doubt crept back. What if this was just a facade? What if she woke up tomorrow, and it all shattered? The fear of her life returning to its previous shadows haunted her. As she wandered from piece to piece, James joined her. "I can see it in you, Sarah. There's so much more." He paused, studying her intensely, sensing the storm of emotions within her. "You just have to take that step." His words echoed deep, filling her with a mix of hope and trepidation. The pulse of the night thrummed all around them, but inside her, it felt like everything was coming to a head. Could she truly walk that path toward a new beginning? Just as she was about to respond, a loud crash resonated from across the gallery. Gasps filled the room. A sculpture had fallen, sending shards scattering everywhere. The moment froze. The thrill of transformation was suddenly tangled in chaos. As panic spread, Sarah's heart raced. Her instincts kicked in. Would she run toward safety, or step forward to help? The decision hung heavy, spiraling into an unexpected crossroads that could change everything once again. What would she choose? The moment the sculpture hit the ground, silence filled the room, thick and choking. Eyes turned toward the scene, broken shards glinting under the gallery lights like fallen stars. Sarah felt her heart thumping in her chest, but it wasn't fear that consumed her. It was something else, a calling deep within her. James' gaze mirrored her own, his eyes wide with concern yet tinged with determination. "We have to help," he said, urgency threading his voice. Without thinking, Sarah moved forward, drawn toward the chaos, each step bolstered by a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in a long while. As she reached the crowd, Sarah noticed a young woman kneeling beside the scattered fragments, tears streaming down her cheeks. The artist, she realized, the one who'd poured so much of herself into that piece. Instinctively, Sarah knelt down too, meeting her gaze, determined to ease the woman's pain. "It's okay," she said softly, though doubt flickered in her mind. "Let us clean this up together." The artist looked up, surprise painted across her features. Slowly, the tears began to subside as the woman nodded, letting go of the overwhelming shame that had gripped her. Around them, others began to join in. James moved to help, gathering pieces carefully in his hands. The atmosphere transformed from panic to solidarity, as strangers banded together, united by a shared mission. They worked hand in hand, laughter and kind words filling gaps where anxiety had once taken hold. As Sarah picked up shards, she marveled at the beauty in their jagged edges. Each fragment represented something broken yet still possessing a story. It struck her deeply. She was living that narrative. Layers of her past had splintered, but there was also beauty waiting to be created anew. "Look at this one!" James exclaimed, holding a piece against the light, its stark outlines shimmering with the promise of what once was. "It's like a mosaic." She caught his gaze, and for a heartbeat, they shared an understanding that transcended words. Soon, the gallery staff arrived, offering support. The artist, still shaken but now accompanied by the blossoming warmth of hope, shared how the sculpture symbolized her journey through grief. Sarah listened, her heart breaking for the woman's struggle but also swelling with empathy. It was a powerful reminder beauty and strength could emerge from shattered experiences. As they finished up, the artist turned to Sarah, her expression a blend of gratitude and newfound courage. "Thank you for being here. I almost lost hope tonight." Sarah felt a rush of connection that went deeper than words. She realized that the act of helping hadn't just mended the physical mess but had woven her further into the fabric of community. For the first time in ages, Sarah felt a ripple of belonging fill her chest. She was drawn into a new reality, one where she wasn't merely a bystander but a participant in a shared vision. Losing herself in the moment came easily, as laughter mixed with shared vulnerability echoed around them. As the event continued, vibrancy returned to the gallery. The crash had unveiled something beautiful that transcended art. Everyone was buzzing with renewed energy, and Sarah felt a strong pull to the next step. It was time to let go of the past and embrace this new chapter. But just as she was ignited by possibility, her phone buzzed in her pocket, one single message that could shift everything again. She pulled it out, and her heart dropped at the sight of the name. It was a reminder of her life outside this moment, a life still tangled in shadows. Would she answer or let the call of the night continue to guide her? The question hung in the air, filled with weighty anticipation. What would she choose next? Sarah's fingers trembled as she stared at the screen. The name tugged at her heart like a fishing line snagged in the deep. Samuel. Just seeing it sent a rush of memories cascading through her mind, the fights, the pleas, the sighs of resignation during sleepless nights. It had been months since she'd escaped that life. Why now? Why when she felt so alive? "Everything okay?" James's voice pulled her back. Concern danced in his eyes, and it was hard not to feel comforted by his presence. She glanced down at the phone again, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down. "It's someone from my past." Her voice wavered slightly, and a flicker of insecurity washed over her like a cold wave. "Do you want to talk about it?" he asked, leaning closer, genuine concern etched in his features. For a moment, Sarah hesitated. Then she decided. "No, it's just someone trying to reach out. I don't think I want to." She tucked the phone back into her pocket, hoping it would silence the fears rising within her. "Good call," James said, relief washing over him. "You're doing something important tonight." "We all are." She nodded, looking back at the beautiful chaos around them. People were still picking up shards, new conversations bobbing up amidst the laughter. The artist was sharing her story, connecting with others who had their own trials. Sarah could see resilience and healing written on every face, standing strong against the messiness of art and life. "Let us create something together," Sarah suggested, her voice clearer now, her spirit bolstered by the collective energy. She glanced at the artist, who was still brushing away tears, stubbornly smiling through it all. "Can we turn these pieces into something new? A community art piece?" A spark ignited in the artist's eyes, and before long, a plan emerged. Papers were brought out, and everyone was challenged to share their own stories alongside the fragments. It felt reckless but exhilarating. Sarah felt more alive than she had ever imagined. A real sense of purpose anchored her heart. As the night wore on, they all worked feverishly. The gallery blossomed with creativity, a patchwork of shards, vibrant colors, and messages of hope. Strangers became friends. Past pains began to intertwine with dreams. Everyone was pouring their hearts into the project, opening up about loss, joy, and what pieces of themselves they were searching for. Even through all the laughter and connection, Sarah occasionally felt the tug of her phone against her leg, a reminder of that other life lurking just outside this moment. Samuel's message hung in her mind like an unanswered question. It was somehow both comforting and scary to think of what she had left behind. Would he understand this new Sarah, the one pulling pieces together, instead of letting them shatter under pressure? Just then, Sarah's phone buzzed again, a familiar ringtone cutting through the laughter and paint-covered hands. Both James and the artist looked at her. "You should answer," he urged. "It's what you choose." The words hung there, challenging her. She could feel the room pulsate with energy, the mosaic coming to life around her, but Samuel's voice on the other end could easily shatter this moment of renewal. Would she pick it up and let the past surge back, or silence it for good, embracing the beauty unfolding right in front of her? What would happen if she chose to turn the notification off forever? Could she really? In that charged silence, another challenge emerged, a choice that could change everything. Sarah looked down at her phone, her heart pounding as the familiar ringtone rang out again. The air crackled around her, and for a moment, it felt as if time had stopped. She could feel the warmth of the gallery wrapping around her, the laughter and shared creativity of the night merging into a beautiful cacophony. But in her pocket, the weight of her past felt like a stone waiting to anchor her back. "Go on, Sarah," James encouraged softly, his eyes steady. His support was like a lifeline, but it felt as fragile as glass. "You're in control." With a deep breath, she pulled out the phone. The screen illuminated Samuel's name, bold and unmistakable. Memories tumbled through her mind, moments of joy wrapped in heartache, laughter that turned to tears. Every time she tried to erase the past, its shadow stretched longer, creeping into new spaces of her life. "I don't know if I can do this," she whispered, barely audible over the ambient energy in the room. "Just think about how far you've come," James replied, a steady grip on her shoulder grounding her. "Whatever he wants, it doesn't have to define you." A wave of gratitude washed through Sarah. He was right. She was not the same fragile woman who once hid behind walls. This was a different moment. This was about choice. Finding her voice, whether she kept it or let it go. As the buzzing subsided, she took it as a sign. Instead of answering, she turned the phone off, letting it fall silent. It felt liberating. For the first time, she felt like she owned her decisions instead of being a puppet to the past pulling at her strings. "Let us keep going," she said, her voice building with confidence. "Let us finish our masterpiece." That simple shift in perspective ignited a spark in the room. The laughter surged back, and paint-covered hands flew, transforming fragments and pieces of lives into something beautiful. Art had always been about healing, a language that transcended pain, and here they were shattering all boundaries. The community surged in energy, creating connections anew. As Sarah smeared bright streaks of color, she thought of all the broken pieces that made her who she was. Every tear and smile had led her to this moment, to the warmth of a collective heartbeat. She could feel her past becoming a part of her story but no longer the director of it. Amidst the vibrant chaos, she glanced at James, who was absorbed in his own peace, his smile infectious. She was grateful for him, for the path they were forging together. But still, the shadows lingered, whispering doubts about her decision. Was she strong enough to keep the past at bay? Could she truly step into the future surrounded by those who loved her? That flicker of fear would chase her unless she embraced it. At that moment, a woman crossed the gallery, carrying a large canvas that had caught Sarah's attention. Something about the colors spoke to her, a magnificent blend that seemed to encapsulate emotions she struggled to articulate. It was a reminder of the complexity in her journey. Without thinking, she reached out to stop the woman. "That's incredible. What inspired you?" Her curiosity unfurled like wings taking flight. The woman smiled softly, revealing layers of experience in her eyes. "Every piece tells a story, one that deserves to be heard," she said, pausing. "Just like yours." And those simple words hit Sarah like a comet, lighting the way towards realization. The challenge wasn't just silencing her past. It was transforming it into something resilient and whole. As their conversation deepened, Sarah's spirit soared, moving her into a new chapter of inspiration. Just as she felt the ghost of Samuel fade a little more, her phone buzzed again, this time with a new notification. She winced momentarily but didn't reach for it. That choice would come later, but for now, she was where she was meant to be, creating, connecting, transforming. And yet, as Sarah stood surrounded by laughter, paint, and hope, she couldn't shake the sensation that this moment was a thin veil. Who or what awaited her on the other side of that message? Was she ready to face it? The night wore on, and an electric energy filled the gallery. Laughter bounced off the walls, mingling with the vibrant hues of paint blending together. Sarah felt lighter, buoyed by the conversations and the shared artistry surrounding her. She turned back to her canvas, fingers sticky with color, and let her emotions flow freely. Each stroke felt like a reclaiming of herself. James joined her side, a smudge of blue on his cheek. "Looks like we're in the zone," he said, grinning. His enthusiasm was contagious, and Sarah felt a surge of joy wash over her. "Totally. I feel like we're creating something magical here," she responded, eyes sparkling. They worked side by side, laughter punctuating their sentences, the gallery a sanctuary from the outside world. But in the midst of this joy, the lingering vibration from her phone nagged at the back of her mind. Samuel's name lingered there, a shadow she couldn't fully shake off. Every time she felt like she was rising, that memory would tug her back, reminding her of the darkness she was trying to escape. Despite this, the warmth of the gallery pushed away those creeping shadows, even if just for the moment. While Sarah was painting, she couldn't help but steal glances at the woman she had spoken to earlier. She was discussing her work with others, drawing them into her world. There was something magnetic about her story, and it stirred something deep within Sarah. After finishing a stroke of electric orange, Sarah took a step back, surveying her piece. Without thinking, she approached the woman again, her heart racing. "Can I ask you something?" she said, feeling vulnerability seep back in. "Of course. What's on your mind?" How do you transform pain into beauty?" "It sounds so simple, yet it feels impossible," Sarah admitted, surprised at her own openness. The woman studied her, as if looking straight into her soul. "It's not easy, but it starts small," she said. "You acknowledge it. You give it space. Then you let it be part of your art. The key is to understand that every color, every shadow has a purpose." Sarah nodded, swallowing hard. "So, it's really about acceptance?" "Exactly. Every story deserves to be heard, including yours," the woman replied, and for a moment Sarah felt truly seen. With a quiet determination, Sarah returned to her own canvas. Colors swirled together, vibrant and raw. But the familiar buzz from her phone broke through, shaking her concentration. She hesitated, fingers hovering above the screen. Was it worth the risk of opening up that old wound? James noticed her hesitation, stepping closer. "Still thinking about it?" "I don't know." She released a shaky breath. "What if it's bad news?" "Then you deal with it. But don't let it ruin this moment. You're creating, you're alive." He gestured towards the smiling faces around them. "You've got so much support here." Sarah looked around. The laughter, the shouts of excitement, they filled her spirit like an overflowing cup. She wanted to be a part of it. The past wasn't the only thing she was creating. The here and now also deserved her full attention. As she forced herself to turn the phone over in her pocket, a peace settled within her. For now, she decided to leave her past where it belonged behind her. But even as the colors on her canvas danced, a disquieting thought grazed her mind. What if ignoring that message meant ignoring something important? Suddenly, a loud crash from the other side of the gallery jolted her, stealing her attention. "What was that?" Sarah shouted, worry threading her voice. James turned, concern etched across his features. "I don't know, but let's check it out." As they hurried toward the commotion, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change again. But would it be for better or worse? She paused, heart pounding at the thought of what lay ahead. With the noise echoing in her ears, one truth flowed through her mind: she was standing on the edge of a new chapter, and whatever happened next, she had to be ready. As Sarah and James approached the source of the commotion, the atmosphere shifted. The laughter from earlier faded, replaced by uneasy murmurs. They pushed through a small crowd gathered around the fallen display of sculpture that had just moments before been the centerpiece of the evening. Its glass shards sparkled under the gallery lights, a crystal rain that reflected the concern painted on everyone's faces. "What happened?" Sarah managed to ask, her breath catching as she saw a few people crouching near the broken pieces. "I think someone bumped into it," an artist nearby said, looking pale. "And not just any someone. It was the curator." Sarah's heart sank. The curator was a figure of authority, someone whose opinion had weight in the art community. "Do you think they're hurt?" she asked, glancing at James, who looked equally concerned. "I hope not," James replied, shifting his gaze from the scene. "But it doesn't look good. So much talent in that piece." The crowd buzzed with gossip. Whispers of cancelled contracts and disrupted careers filled the air like smoke. Sarah felt an unexpected rush of empathy. She understood how one moment could shatter everything you had worked for. It reminded her of the instability in her past, the unpredictability with Samuel that still loomed over her. Suddenly, from the back of the crowd, the curator emerged, fumbling with his glasses. I'm fine, he insisted, waving dismissively at the concerned expressions. "It was an accident. Just an accident." Relief washed over Sarah, but it was fleeting. As the curator bent down to gather the pieces, her heart squeezed, not just for him but for the fractured dreams that often resembled those shards. She looked toward the canvas, a reminder of her own renewal. Could art really capture vulnerability, yet appear so fragile? "Let us help," Sarah said abruptly, surprising even herself with her conviction. She moved forward. "Sarah!" James called, but she felt a pull that wouldn't let her stay back. As she reached the curator, she crouched down beside him, offering her hand and a gentle touch of empathy. "You okay?" she asked softly, her voice cutting through the buzzing crowd. He looked at her, eyes momentarily startled. "Yeah, just having a rough night." His smile was weak, but it was there. "This piece meant a lot to me." "I can imagine," she said, attempting to connect. "But maybe this is a chance to rethink it? To turn the brokenness into something new?" He breathed deeply, trembling slightly. "You're right. It's just hard to see it now." Suddenly, a thought struck her. What if we had a group art project? Gather everyone's ideas and create something together? Something that tells a story of resilience? The curator blinked. "A collaborative piece?" "Yeah." Sarah's heart raced with the idea. "We could all bring something to it. Let it symbolize not just our struggles, but our community. It'll be filled with emotion, laughter, tears, everything." His brow furrowed as he considered it. It could work. It would bring the gallery back to life. A wave of excitement surged through Sarah. She turned to James, catching the spark in his eyes. "See? We can transform this moment." Just then, another loud noise punctured the air, the vibrating buzz of her phone again. The latest reminder from her past clawed at her resolve, a stark interruption to the momentum she felt brewing. Would she choose to engage with it after all, just when she was starting to believe in new beginnings? As she hovered over her phone, caught between the thrilling energy of the moment and the shadows lurking behind her, Sarah felt a choice shift within her. What was lurking on the other end of that message? Was it simply a reminder of her past, or could it intertwine with her present in unforeseen ways? With her heart thumping loudly, she faced a surreal decision: to confront her history for the sake of potential healing or dive headfirst into the creative chaos surrounding her. Sarah took a breath, ready to answer both her phone and the call to action swirling around her. As Sarah pulled her phone from her pocket, her heart raced. The screen illuminated a message that felt like a ghost from her past, haunting her just when she thought she could breathe freely. She hesitated, her finger hovering over the notifications. Those familiar feelings of anxiety began to bubble up, threatening to pull her back into the shadows. "Sarah?" James's voice brought her back to the moment, his concern palpable. "Are you okay?" The curator continued collecting pieces, oblivious to her inner conflict. Sarah wanted to scream that she was okay, that she was ready to embrace this unexpected opportunity to create something meaningful. But the truth felt tangled inside her. She started, trying to ground herself. It's just a message. James stepped closer, his curiosity piqued. From who? An old friend, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. But the word friend felt like a lie. It carried echoes of vulnerability, memories of joy tangled with hurt. The crowd around the curator began to disperse, excitement simmering as whispers turned into plans. Sarah could hear snippets of their ideas: a mural here, an installation there. They were finding hope in the shattering. All she had to do was join them, but would that mean leaving her past behind completely? She took in the vibrant conversations flowing around her, their enthusiasm a stark contrast to the unsettling weight of her text. The curator finally met her gaze again, his eyes brighter now. What do you say, Sarah? Can we really make this work? A community piece? Yes. Her enthusiasm rushed out, filling the space with warmth. This is it. Let us get everyone involved. We can set up stations where artists can come in and add their pieces. Together, we'll use the concept of transformation, just like this moment. It can become a giant representation of resilience. His smile widened, a flicker of hope igniting in his demeanor. Yes, I love that. Let us make it an event. A true night of rebirth. The chatter resumed around them, and Sarah's confidence began to build. Ideas and colors danced in her mind. Slowly, she turned her attention back to her phone. What if facing her past could propel her forward, just like this art project? What if she didn't have to let it haunt her anymore? James leaned in as if sensing her shift. You want to talk about it? The message? No. Sarah shook her head firmly, a spark igniting inside her. No, not now. Right now, I want to create. She glanced over to where the crowd had formed smaller groups, discussing materials, sharing stories. The energy was contagious. Then let's do it. Together, James said, his expression encouraging. Her heart swelled. It felt exhilarating to take charge, to let her voice lead not only her journey but also her community's. Sarah turned back to the curator, aware that this was just the beginning. Let us organize a meeting tonight, she suggested excitedly. We'll invite everyone to brainstorm and share their ideas. I can send out the invites. You're on fire, he exclaimed, brushing glass shards aside with renewed vigor. It'll be fun. And healing. The thought warmed her the notion of joining together, of celebrating through art. But from the corner of her eye, the phone buzzed again, this time with an angry vibration that seemed to call for her. Against the backdrop of hopeful chatter and creative plans forming, a part of her hesitated. What if the past didn't let her go so easily? Sarah, James said softly, lifting her chin. You're strong enough to face whatever that is when you're ready. But right now, you're creating something beautiful. She nodded slowly, the weight of her decision settling like a stone in her stomach. And just as excitement swelled in the gallery, she knew that whatever awaited her beyond the phone call wouldn't deter her new path. Instead, Sarah took a deep breath, inhaling the atmosphere around her, filled with potential and the promise of rebirth. Tonight then. Let us make it happen, she declared, stepping forward, her heart beating in rhythm with the crowd's energy, all while the question loomed. Would she finally confront her past, or would it be left lurking in the shadows a little while longer? The gallery buzzed with a new energy, vibrant and electric. People had gathered in small clusters, chalking out ideas and debating colors for the mural. A sense of belonging filled the air: artists, students, and everyday folks all united by a common purpose. Sarah felt it too, that pull towards something that made her heart sing. Let us gather everyone, James shouted, his enthusiasm infectious. As he began to wave people over, Sarah took a moment to appreciate the scene around her: laughter, excitement, and hope. It was everything she dreamed of, and yet, the nagging weight of her phone in her pocket felt heavier than ever. Taking a deep breath, she pushed the thought aside. Tonight was about community, about rebirth. She walked over to the large canvas that had been set up, still blank, its potential waiting to explode into color. As more people joined, Sarah pulled her phone out one last time. She glanced at the screen. The message was still there, taunting her. But right now, she redirected her focus. "Let us start with a theme," she said, her voice strong and clear. "How about transformation through resilience? It can embody all our stories." "Yes," someone shouted from the back, sparking applause among the crowd. Excitement bubbled within her, and for a moment she forgot the darkness that loomed behind her. They began tossing ideas back and forth, the canvases evolving in their minds. Ideas flowed like paint, thick and vibrant, flooding the space. People volunteered to manage different aspects: music, snacks, logistics. Sarah found herself teamed up with a girl named Mia, who had bright purple hair and an even brighter smile. "What if we set up a section where people can come and write messages of healing?" Mia suggested. "We can add them to the mural." "That's brilliant," Sarah replied, her heart lifting. Mia's enthusiasm stirred something deep within her. Creative momentum filled the space, and with each passing moment, Sarah felt her burdens lighten. But every laugh shared and every plan made was inevitably punctuated by the persistent ping of her phone. It clawed at her concentration. She shoved the device back into her pocket, trying to push away the weight of the past. Tonight wasn't for her past, it was for their future. As individual stories began to emerge, Sarah couldn't help but notice the hidden pain behind some of the smiles. A young man, shaking slightly as he spoke, shared how he had recently lost his job. An older woman talked about her struggle to connect with her adult children. Each story was laced with resilience, battling back against sorrow. Their hurt was raw, yet it wove a rich tapestry of strength shared among them. In the midst of the creative chaos, Sarah felt the ease of their vulnerability. Questions and emotions flowed as freely as the colors they'd soon put on the canvas. A warmth settled in her chest, and for the first time, she saw her own story reflected in theirs, not as haunting past but as a thread in the beautiful design of resilience they were creating together. James reached for Sarah's hand, an unexpected comfort, as he announced, "Let us pour our hearts into this. We're not just creating art, we're building something alive." The words rang true, an echo of air whispered from her depths. Sensing the shift, she found that she could no longer ignore the weight her phone carried. She turned to James. "I think I might check that message." "Are you sure?" He looked concerned. "You don't have to." But it was that very uncertainty that had opened the door to this moment. Whatever awaited on the other side of that message was part of her journey. As she tentatively pulled her phone from her pocket again, the room froze, collective breaths suspended as if they could feel the weight of her choice. "Maybe it's time to confront what's been haunting me," Sarah whispered, heart racing, eyes flickering between the glimmers of creativity around her and the screen glowing with answers just waiting to be uncovered. And as she hovered over the message, she couldn't shake the feeling that tonight would change everything. Would it unlock a new path, or would it drag her back into shadows she thought she escaped? Sarah felt her heart racing as she finally opened the message. Each moment seemed to stretch into eternity, a bridge between her vibrant reality and the shadows of her past. The screen lit up with Samuel's name, the very embodiment of everything she had fought to leave behind. With a deep breath, she read the words, "We need to talk, Sarah. I'm sorry for everything." The sincerity tugged at her heart. Regret and yearning poured from those words, the unresolved tension washing over her like cold waves crashing on a shore she thought she had left behind. But Sarah knew she couldn't allow these echoes of sorrow to drown out the light she was creating around her. "Anything important?" James inquired, concern weaving through his voice. His presence grounded her, and she took a moment to consider her response. She wasn't just a reflection of her past, but an active participant in her future, a vibrant brushstroke on the canvas of her life. "No," she said finally, with unexpected resolve. "It's just someone who's caught in the past." In that moment, she felt a weight lift as she turned off the phone. The shadows began to recede, fading away under the warmth of companionship and shared stories around her. "All right then. James's face broke into a smile. Let us turn that energy toward our masterpiece. The room buzzed back to life, and Sarah felt her spirits soar. The fear that once held her captive transformed into courage, the kind that comes alive amidst the clamor of creativity and community. As they began sketching ideas on paper, laughter erupted around them. People collaborated, sharing fragments of their stories, their struggles and victories woven into the fabric of a mural that would tell the tale of resilience. Each brushstroke of paint would carry hope, healing, renewal, a tribute to all they had faced and overcome together. Let us write our messages of healing, Mia shouted, her excitement contagious. Others cheered in agreement, standing up with energy that pulsed through the gallery. It felt monumental. Together, they were transforming brokenness into celebration. Positioned at the canvas, they began to fill it with vibrant colors and emotional expressions. Sarah scooped up paint, her fingers working instinctively, each splash becoming a powerful declaration of her newfound leadership in this endeavor. Surrounded by artists, dreamers, and seekers, she let the art reflect the strength she had found within herself. With every brushstroke, Sarah felt more like herself than ever. Each layered color mingled with the laughter and hard-born desires of the crowd. It was a celebration of thriving, and Sarah recognized joy threaded with sorrow as the essence of life. Finally, the mural was finished, a kaleidoscope of emotions colliding on that vast canvas. The finished piece resembled a patchwork quilt of stories, reflecting every individual's journey, including her OWN.as. The crowd stepped back, gasps of awe echoed through the gallery. It's breathtaking, someone exclaimed, exhilaration dancing in their voice. Others nodded in agreement, eyes glistening with emotion. Sarah's heart swelled with pride. This was not just art. It was a testament to every struggle and triumph, a celebration of the resilience they had forged together. In that moment, the lingering shadows of past burdens dissipated completely. Sarah glanced at James, whose eyes sparkled with admiration. You were incredible tonight, he said softly, admiration radiating from his voice. She smiled back, a radiant light blooming in her chest. So were all of us. As twilight settled outside, people began to trickle out of the gallery, still abuzz with joy and laughter. Sarah stood amidst the remnants of creativity, feeling enriched and revitalized. She had embraced the goodness found in vulnerability, transformed pain into beauty, and made lasting connections. Now, her past no longer loomed threateningly. Broken free, she reclaimed her story. With every step forward, Sarah felt an electrifying pulse of possibility envelop her. She was complete. She was stronger. She was home, and as she turned to leave, one final thought gripped her heart. Healing wasn't just a solitary journey. It was about gathering up the pieces, creating opportunity from loss, and forging community through shared experiences. That night, Sarah realized she had not just transformed in isolation but also brought together a collective rebirth, a beacon of hope for everyone. If you've been inspired by this incredible story of transformation, you need to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss out on the next exclusive tales. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and keep our community thriving. Your engagement makes all the difference. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support fuels our journey together, and only true fans understand the importance of these actions.